Aloha and welcome back to the week that was. I'm your host, Colin Edsman, and this week was another very interesting one. If you guys were keeping track of the news, we went from opening the strait to closing the strait, so oil prices are still elevated. Um, Additionally, the markets just didn't seem to care a whole lot. We'll get into that in a little bit. Also, this week here in Hawaii is Merry Monarch Week, so congratulations to all of the contestants who made it to the stage, as well as congratulations to all of to the Miss Aloha Hula who won. If you guys don't know what that is, it's basically the Olympics of hula. So if you get a chance, watch it later on tonight. It goes on till like midnight our time. Honestly, I don't know how the people who watch it live get through it. It's so late in the evening, and then you got to drive back to your place. So after you guys are finished with Mary Monarch, please drive safe, get home safe. The markets this week was, like I said, was pretty apathetic to the overall crisis going on. Still, I'll pull up the chart real fast, and we'll take a look at the S&P 500 futures. All right, here we go. So as you can see, the overall week was actually pretty good. Like we've had um, basically all green days in a row, and today was the first sort of red day we've had since the uh, I want to say the ceasefire um, agreement went through, but that's already kind of just behind on the news because Iran and Pakistan and that area, they're just not having a good time. They're just not getting along right now. But here, let's check out the crude oil prices and see where that finished off. So if you bought the dip earlier in the month, congratulations, right? That was a good time to buy it, and we're on our way back. But before we leave this screen here, we're not quite out of the. I mean, we're out of this overall area here, but we're not completely out of the woods yet. As you can see, it didn't. It followed the downtrend and then left. I'm gonna get this out of our way because now that's kind of null and void. Because I'm gonna have to make another retracement here overall over this peak and trough and see where we're gonna come back to. Let's do that real fast. All right, so here's the bottom ish. Here's the top ish. And let's see where, if we don't continue just flying, because nothing just trades straight up. So expect a bit of a return to some sort of means here. And as you can see, we got the 200-day moving average. It's above it. It's above the 150-day. It's right above the 100-day, and it's above the 50-day. So because it's all like it blew through all of those moving averages, we're going to expect some return to an average of some sort. So I expect a 69.90, yeah, somewhere in here. It's going to retrace back down over the next week or so. You got to remember, or maybe even to here, right? We'll be more bullish somewhere to here, but we're going to get some sort of retracement. That's just how charts work. We don't go straight up, as you can see back here, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? So we're up, so expect an equal-ish down of some sort, right? So worst case scenario, we return back to this 6571 area here. So this is kind of where I'm keeping my eyes on next, because I want to know we're really, really out of this. The next 2 weeks are sort of crucial. I know the ceasefire agreement is going, but it doesn't matter a whole lot if the oil is still really high, because then it still puts a lot of pressure on a lot of markets, including our wallets. We're seeing 579, 576, 579 a gallon here in town, and that's definitely putting a strain on people's wallets as well. But with Mary Monarch coming up, I know people are doing a lot of driving, so it's just a really hard season to do that. Additionally, we're getting another Kona low storm here in the state, so other islands are dealing again with more flooding and whatnot. So flights were canceled. So Mary Monarch was a little bit, from what I could tell, had a lot of empty seats from when I was watching last night. All right, back to the charts here. Now let's check over the crude oil futures because we were talking about that. Overall, I had a pretty great week, so I'm not too upset at all with the final day of the week being red. It was one of my better weeks this year, so pat myself in the back. Also, pat yourself in the back if you were tuning in for the last couple weeks and staying real neutral about the way you're feeling. I know the news can be kind of irritating to the point where you want to kind of fight back at it, right? Try to avoid that because as you can see, we're getting some returns here. Now we're looking here at the crude oil futures, and we ended the week right at this middle, right? We extended real high, and then we tried again, and then that was it, double top, right? Boom, boom. Now we're gonna come back into here. Now this is gonna be kind of a stabilization area. I want to say this will be done in a couple weeks, and the gas prices will immediately come down. That's just not going to happen. Unfortunately, that's just not the way it works. It goes up faster than it comes down. We're anticipating we could be seeing crude oil prices above average, above normal into the next year. So I'm hoping it's not an investment strategy that we get out of this quickly and we can get back to our day to day lives and we can just focus on what we're doing rather than what the world is doing. Here, we'll look at the crude oil futures for a moment. Yeah, right here back in that kind of middle. So this is what I would say is that average. So I'm not gonna. So we may dip down. We get a little bit of reprieve. We'll revert back. We may fly back up, but we're gonna see some bouncing through here, and then probably and then a wind down throughout the rest of the year, maybe into the summer. We'll see some sort of reverting back to normal. Maybe a 350 to 325 national average, I think, would be kind of a realistic outlook for the summertime. All right. Now, Bitcoin throughout the week has given some interesting price action. Um, if you're a Robinhood shareholder, you know that Bitcoin and Robinhood sort of have a tractor and trailer going on. They kind of move together, right? But this last day, for some reason, it didn't follow that trend, but that's okay. Right here, as you can see, we're getting a pretty good consolidation and a pretty good support area down at the bottom here. Um, I mean, it didn't want to dip down below 60,000. One time it went down to 59, and that was it. It came back up. We're still below all of our moving averages, right? Let's take a look here. Here's a 200 here, right? Way below it, way below the 150. We're also way below the 100, the 50 as well. Well, we're right at the 50, right? So it seems like we're right at the moving average there. And with the overall crisis, we're still in a good spot, relatively speaking. Crypto has been taking a slap after slap since back in October, but now I think we're back into a groove, and I think we can get a little bit more bullish about it because now we can start. We're now above the 50. Now we're moving our way towards the 75, right? 70 or the 150. Right, the next one is the 100 here. So this is the 100 here. And we'll try to test that and probably move our way back down. So I say throughout the weekend, depending on how it is, maybe we get 75, right? Maybe. But I want to keep my eyes on the big game here, and that's the overall oil crisis. Because once that's done and down, then we're back in good shape. Now let's check how the VIX ended the week. Volatility is your friend if you're trading options. Within the next couple of weeks, we're going to do a bit of a class on options trading as well as ETFs. So keep your eyes open for that. But here, let's take a look here. All right, cool. So we broke right down. So last week Sunday, I was we were talking about it and we are saying, hey, maybe we'll test this. We'll head back up, and we did for a second, and then that was it. De-escalation happened, and then boosh, we fell right back down to our moving averages down here at the bottom, which is very good actually. This is kind of a nice average area. It's still elevated, but not extremely elevated. So it seems like the markets have kind of calmed down a bit, or at least become apathetic to the overall crisis. I want this to be done quickly so we can get back to our day to day lives, but that's not happening. All right, here's the Qs. If you trade the Qs, congratulations. If you don't trade the Qs, be careful. This is NASDAQ, Investico. All right, we did. I mean, this is roughly the same thing as the other chart. Looks, yeah, okay, perfect. Let's get out of here. All right, now let's get on something more interesting. So we also got the Masters going on this week. I don't know if you guys have been watching it, but Rory is kicking everybody's teeth in right now. As you can see, he's up here at 70% to win. Um, I'm a Rory McIlroy fan. He won last year. He won like the trifecta last year. Now, I don't have any skin in the game at the moment. Just not the time of this. It's just not the market to be over here playing with something that is less than investing, right? So I don't have any skin in the game. But for anybody who does, I hope you make your nugget. I did see a trader put out what 100. I want to say over 100K on Scotty Scheffler to lose, and that's a pretty crazy. That was pretty crazy for anybody to throw 100K at one golf tournament. Oof. I don't think I'll ever do that. That's not my vibe. Not to lose. Jeez. I mean, I know it's very hard to win, and there are a lot of competitors, and upsets happen all the time in golf. But that is a lot of money. All right, let's take a look at economics here. Mm-mm-mm. Where are you going? Oi. Okay. All right. Here we go. I don't know why it popped into a different screen. All right. Here we got Fed decision. Okay. So you're just going to keep popping up new screens. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Funny screen. Hold on one second. We're getting a couple of technical difficulties here on the mouse. So bear with me for one moment while I fix this. Okay, we got that. Scroll bar is being a little bit finicky on me, but that's okay. We'll just have to do it manually. Okay, let's get back to economics. All right, I guess you're just dedicated to taking me to a different screen every time. All right, fine. This is how it's going to be for today, gang. I personally am not having fun with that part. But this is important to take a look at. So, Fed rate decisions make a big impact on inflation, and inflation is the answer to every question. I hear it from my mentor a lot. I hear it from other people who talk about where the markets are going, what is going on, and what do you look at is inflation. And here's what we're looking at. It looks to be like we got a pretty high chance that the Fed will maintain the rate, with a very very low chance of cutting the rate and an extremely low chance of a rate hike. Now that's coming up this month. That's fine. With the overall crisis going on, I expect them to just kind of hold steady and wait this out, and then we'll see what happens. There's still a decent chance we revert to our all-time highs on the S&P 500, and then continue on from there. Maybe we finish the year above 7,200, which would be pretty good for a midterm year. Um, if you're watching the live show from Robinhood that came out yesterday with Obi and Steph, They were talking about oil. They were talking about the overall market going on right now, but they were also talking about the chance that the market kind of did its dipping for the year. So I asked a question if we're going to see another dip that would be attached to the midterm elections. So midterm years are notoriously bad, right? 15% ish is kind of a kind of dip you get from peak to trough in a midterm year. So with that being said, we got sort of about a 10, maybe 11% peak to trough on our drop past uh, this past crisis from when it started to recently when it just ripped over the past week. Congratulations if you were long, but if you are short, I think you're still in good shape because this was really extreme. So we're gonna revert back. So just keep an eye out for some retracement. But they said that we're not expecting another dip attached to the actual election itself. So I'm grateful for that. So this might just be our overall bad month for the year, and the rest of the year we should just continue to grind higher and higher. There's still a lot of companies that are doing strongly on the S&P 500. Now, if you're watching the software department, software is not doing great. Unfortunately, software is down a whole lot. I'm going to pull that up. Let me just ixnay this screen. Here we go. We're going to pull it up for a second. All right, so now we're going to find out sort of how the week ended. Now, I hope you guys are doing okay at home. Um, and for yourself there sitting there watching, thank you for tuning in. Yeah, there are far too many studio gremlins in here today for me to try to pull this up. We're just going to stick to the simple chart to chart because I'm not quite sure what's going on here today. We're going to go old school. We're going to let the computer do whatever the computer wants. I'm going to find you some info this way. So thank goodness for multiple outlets for getting information. But I just want to go and check out what happened during the overall week and get that information to you real quickly. All right, so I don't know if anybody trades gold. So I trade a little bit of gold futures. I'll pull that up here. Da, 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 da. So gold has actually been on its way back, and I think it's hit its bottom. But here from TKL, gold is reshaping the global financial system yet again. Now, so I understand that you know what gold is, but do you know how little gold we have in comparison to how much gold is on the planet? So there are millions of tons of gold. That gold itself doesn't necessarily mine or doesn't just sit on the surface. You have to mine it. And most of the gold that we have was mined within the last 50 years. But because of our technological advancements on being able to mine gold, the amount of gold we have and the ways we use it have also gone up. From when kings and queens first discovered gold, it was just for um, ornamentation, and then it became commerce, and then it became like decoration in a house, and then now we use it to financially back our system. The gold reserve assets are up to a record 3.87 trillion, 140 billion above valuation adjusted the U.S. dollar reserve assets at 3.73 trillion. That's pretty big. Since 2022, gold reserve assets have tripled, driven by record central bank accumulation and surging prices. Right, so gold has always been uh, I want to say a hedge. People run to it when things happen. Now, this past crisis, people didn't run to gold. Gold kind of did crazy nonsense stuff. But I think gold is still a big contender in this overall market. Now, let's end the week here on something really simple, just because there's so much going on here. Oh, we got Quantum Queso Dip in the chat. Oh my gosh, there's a person in the chat right now. I need to go check in on that. I had no idea. Like I'm usually here by myself. Hold up. Let's get back to Quantum real fast. Hey, thank you for tuning in. My goodness. Um, I honestly never had to respond back to anybody in the chat, so give me a second to figure out how to do that. Gosh, there's a person in the chat right now. I need to go check in on that. I had no idea. I'm usually here by myself. Hold up. Let's get back to Quantum real fast. Hey, thank you for tuning in. My goodness. Um, Oh, Bitcoin eventually go back to true market mean at 50K. Oh, I can see that. Wow, and I need to check in on that next time. I'm sorry, Quantum. Thank you for tuning in. Let me see what you're talking about here with Bitcoin. So I'm happy if Bitcoin gets down to a price like that. Okay, my computer is just not working. I don't know what's going on here with it. Let's see. Let's try one more time. There we go. All right, let's check out the Bitcoin price. Yay! We got someone else in the chat. Oh, hi, honey girl. How are you today? Oh, we got my beautiful wife in the chat right now. Thank you for tuning in. All right, this show just got a lot more exciting. Thank you so much. As you can see, we've still got some studio gremlins here, but we're gonna transition over. Once this loads, let's talk about Bitcoin for a second. Man, it is just a slog fest. Thank you for bearing with me. I'm not 100% sure what's going on, but you know what? Forget about it. We'll talk about it without this. All right, so the computer's not working out, but I'm going to pull up the chart here on my app because that's what it's for. All right, let's see how Bitcoin is doing. Now we talked about it earlier in the chat, earlier in the stream, but let's see what Quantum's got. What he's talking about. I want to kind of like see what the chart support as far as 50K. Now, 50K would make a lot of people really angry, and a lot of things would um, not work out super well in the crypto realm. But crypto is a long term hold. I don't know if you're exposed to crypto at all in any way, but cryptocurrency is not going to go anywhere. Blockchain is here to stay. But then we also have, well, like quantum computing, right? Like quantum queso dip here in the chat with us. Thank you for tuning in. Um, it's it's not necessarily impervious either, right? There's still quantum computers that may be able to break into crypto wallets, right? So that can be a little bit dodgy one day. Let's see. Bitcoin. Here we go. All right, so we're currently at 70. Let's give a 5-year chart here. All right, so we're at 72,000 right now. We're off or 73,000, and we're pretty far off from the overall top, as you can kind of tell. Now, if we're going to revert back to sort of a means down at that 50K, that's that's somewhere down here. Here, kind of where that bad boy is here. And you know what? I can see it. Like there's a lot of things competing with it right now. Things are just not working all super well for Bitcoin and crypto at the moment. It's a bit of a crypto winter. Also, we're hearing that Adam Back is Satoshi again. It's not Adam. Haven't we squashed that already? Can we leave Adam alone? He's not Satoshi. I mean, I'm sure he would be living a completely different life if he was. Why wouldn't he? But yeah, so if we look at the long-term chart here for Bitcoin, oh yeah, I'm not quite. I mean, I'm not quite sure you guys will be able to see it super well, but if you can see that pink line there, that is that 50,000 that Quantum is talking about, and I can see it hitting it, especially if it's down in that low area. Like, but hey, if you're a long-term holder of Bitcoin, that's the stuff you're looking for, right? No one has enough of anything they want, usually, right? We still got people who are buying millions and millions of shares of stuff that they want, right? So we're not in a place to say that we're completely full, like our bags are full, right? We want things to go down. Warren Buffett has said that. Other top investors have said you want your things to come down so you can accumulate more of it. And that's the overall goal, right? Pack your bags and then ride, trim some profits, and then when it comes down, pack your bags some more, right? This is a trader's game. So I want to shout out to Quantum. Hope you check back in later on. Shout out to my wife for jumping in the chat as well. And thank you for tuning in at home later on. Uh, Thank you for anybody who is tuning in later on in the week as well. This upcoming week, I'm looking forward to some better action. This coming Sunday, we're going to be back here live again for the week to be. Like I said earlier, please tune in to Mary Monarch if you like hula. It is our Olympic of hula, and the competitors are always top notch. We look at the outfits, we look at the dances, we look at the cadence, we look at it's I don't know how to describe it. Just go and check it out. But as always, farewell, ahui ho, please be safe, and thank you for tuning in to the week that was. I'll see you on the porch.